Hey, what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? Thanks for checking out Bluefoot Homestead. Thanks for checking out this video. I do appreciate it. Now today I want to kind of go over some of the things that I've been doing as far as the garden goes. And well, like I said in another video, it's been kind of interesting. As you can see here, this is all my raised beds. The only thing that I have really done is lettuce and spinach. I haven't really had time to do much else. I've been waiting on Mother's Day to come to make sure that we don't have any more frost warnings or freezes or anything like that, and it's safe. Alright, yeah. Pup's always got to make an appearance. Toy time. So yeah, anyway, I don't know if you can see kind of back in here, I got some lettuce going. For my lettuce, I basically just threw seeds out right on the top. I threw a little bit of chicken manure on top of that, and that's about it. So, alright, yeah, my pup's gonna be causing some issues. Alright, yeah, it's always playtime. She's pretty quick to go catch some toys. So anyway, got a couple chores to do this morning, so I'm gonna get started on that. Got to feed the chickens, fill up the Cornish cross, let everybody out. You hear the ducks kind of raising hell, so hear my dog raising hell. So yeah, anyway, that's going on with the raised beds. I'm growing a whole bunch of weeds and grass, that's about it, but hopefully that'll change. I do have my strawberries over here. Come on, hey. I have my strawberries that are going, they produce a lot of flowers, lost a few flowers. Phoebe. But they're growing, they're doing okay. I'm gonna get away from the pup so you can actually hear me and go from there. Animals. You gotta go over. You have something called wings. You should try them out. Alright, so as you can see, we got one American breast that's in here. Every night that bird disappears and goes somewhere. Can't figure out where they're going. But I think she's one of the broody hens that is off being broody somewhere. You know, we do have nocturnal predators here. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue, but it wasn't last year and she was broody. I knew where she was, but this year I don't know where she is. And she's probably got a pile of eggs out there somewhere trying to hatch them, so we'll see. Filled up the duck pool. You know, as you can see, they definitely love it. Filled up the 5-gallon bucket. That's what I'm using for the Cornish. So let's go ahead and let the other chicks out, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'll get to the garden, I promise. Alright, so there we go. Got those guys out. Now, lately I haven't been collecting eggs. We've been getting a lot of eggs, but it's been so wet that the eggs are wet, muddy. The inside of the coop is wet. The brooder boxes are wet. Just everything's super wet, so I've been getting rid of them. It's nothing that's going to last, and we have such an abundance of eggs right now that I can afford to get rid of some, unfortunately. And out here in the Ozarks, you know, I mean, pretty much everybody has chickens and they have eggs, so you can't even really give them away. Some people try to sell them for like $2 a dozen, but like at work they come in with 5-gallon buckets and just help yourself. You know, I mean, eggs are everywhere. All right, so off to the Cornish. So yeah, I need to do a little cleaning up in this coop. But yeah, those are like little succulent softballs right now. I mean, they're pretty tiny. They're still, you know, about that big, but I let them free range a little bit the other day. Successfully. They seem to do pretty good, but they need some food right now, so I'm gonna get them some food. Yeah, I think it's time to elevate it a little bit, get that feeder up on a brick. So this is my medium level one. Once they get to a certain height, I like to elevate it a little bit so it's easier to get to. So that water right there is pretty much a failure. Right now I'm using a 5-gallon bucket and I'm just dumping it into one of the kind of petroleum based water dishes, the rubberized water dishes that you get at all the box stores. Just using that for water until I figure out something different. But these guys are going to be around for a very short time. They were going to live a very short life. They're going to live longer in my freezer than they are out here eating grass and grains. So I'm not going to worry about it for these guys, but definitely something in the future. Now I'm a little tired. I haven't been able to get a lot of exercise lately because my back is messed up. I was supposed to have a procedure done to get it fixed yesterday, and at the last minute my insurance company backed out of the deal. So in the process of getting that all worked out, then I'll be able to get exercising a little bit more, and hopefully I'll be a little bit more pain-free. That will be nice. It was really horrible to deal with that message that was left for me. So anyway, as you can see, the breasts over there, they love the grass. They're good grazers, they're good foragers and stuff like that. They're gonna be good. I've really cut back on the grass, or the feed. I've cut in about half to 40%, and they're doing just great. Now the roosters, they're pigs. They like to eat a lot, so yeah, they'll sit there and kick me on the way out because I didn't give them enough food and try to beat me up as I'm walking back inside. You know, it's a little bit funny, but a little bit sad, but they do just fine. Just fine. I'd eventually like to get them pretty much while there's grass, grains, and bugs available to just eat that. Cut down on the cost of feed and stuff. So in the winter time, you know, there's not going to be much getting around that because there's not much for grass and things to eat. So yeah, that's where I am on that. So let's go ahead and get to the garden. I'll show you what's going on. Nothing like the sight of an unfinished project, huh? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk you back to the garden area. Right here I have to mow because, as you can see, the grass, well, it gets quite tall quite fast, especially this time of year. So gotta mow myself a path just so I can get back here without getting attacked by bugs, ticks, and all those fun things, because we are in the Ozarks and ticks are definitely an issue. So right now, to get to the garden, I have to walk through the chicken coops. So here we are into the garden. As you can see, there is nothing here. Now, this has been a few months in the works. Mid-March, I went ahead and pulled the tarp back. That was the video that I did as far as like clearing the land for a garden and stuff like that. But we started getting some weather coming in that was going to drop the temperature down to freezing, and it got down into the 20s. So that put a halt on being able to really plant. And I know out here where I am at, I believe it's 6B zone, Mother's Day tomorrow, so happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there, is the last freeze date. That is the go-to last freeze date. Well, unfortunately, I mean, you can't really go off of a crystal ball and try to figure out when everything's going to happen and it's going to warm up and all that. That last freeze that we had was the last freeze. Now it's been pretty warm lately, but the bad thing about it is we're getting the spring storms coming through. Now basically what that schedule looks like is 2 days of severe thunderstorms, 1 day of clear skies, 2 days of storms, 1 day, maybe 2 days of clear skies. So it has just been muddy out here, to say it any other way. Right now it is still kind of muddy. I mean, if you look right there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the shine on it, but just where I am standing is pulling water up to the surface and it's muddy. So I did plant some stuff. I have planted cabbage. I planted all my squash down this row right here. Some butternut and zucchinis and stuff like that. I planted my beets. I planted, oh geez, what else? Some marigolds. I planted bok choy. I planted like heads of cabbage, onions. So I planted a lot of the stuff that's able to go into the ground before the freeze because I didn't really know what was going to be going on. And then we just got completely flooded out. Roads were flooded. My land gets flooded. My front yard's still flooded. And it's been dry for a couple days now. So I have this issue. Now, hopefully today, I'm gonna get most of it planted. I'm gonna get seeds sowed into the ground, but it's a late start. When it comes to things that are gonna bolt real easy, well, I'm pretty much screwed on that. So my original plan on doing it like the Pilgrims did it, carry a whole bunch of seeds around, plant the seeds on the right time, is going to work at least for this year. I would like to learn that. I would like to be able to read the moon, see what the weather's going to do and things like that, and definitely try to do it. But this year, I think I'm going to be planting some plants. It's going to be a whole lot smaller than I expected. It's not going to be a full garden, I already know that, which is okay. But I learned what I'm going to be able to do with this garden and what I'm not going to be able to do. Now let me go ahead and show you a couple things. I don't know how much you're going to see it. This might be a good angle for it, but this fence running back right there, I believe I got it from a company deerfence.com or something like that, but it is pretty good. It's a monofilament, kind of like fishing line, but really, really thick. Don't quote me on it. I think it's around like 800 pounds of pressure to be able to break it or something like that, so it can take a deer coming at it and it's not going to give. Now I put it up here just kind of temporarily because I wanted to do the job, but I ran out of time and I had to go to sleep and go back to work. So I did kind of a half job, and we had 2 systems come through, storm systems, and it blew most of this row of 100 feet down, put extra pressure on my other poles that are down there, started taking them out of the ground, really bending them over, really just messed up the whole thing. So at least I was able to come in here yesterday. I got 3 zip ties per pole, and I was going to use the regular fence anchors. I do have a couple of them on here, but they do not work very good for something as thin as this. So that was a no-go. I did about half of this row here, about 5 poles. I was going every other one just to be able to get it secured and go from there and then come back and start adding to it. But it was a pain in the butt. I was chancing damaging the fence, as well as it just wasn't really holding it very well. So I decided to come back again, go with the zip tie method. I don't completely trust zip ties, but I've got thousands of them, so I can come through here and do repairs as necessary. I'll have to check it pretty much after every storm, see if any of them have broken. But this is a 7.5 foot fence. I did not want to spend the money. I spent like $500 just on these T-posts at 7 foot. And I didn't want to spend that extra premium to get the 8 footers. So I went with the 7 foot, so I have some overhang. I have to touch it up here, but I have about a foot actually of extra fencing that I'm just kind of looping it around and giving it a little bit of extra support, because with this fence you're supposed to run a steel cable on good supported like 4x4 wood post, and then you pull that tight for the protection of the top, just so it doesn't move around, it doesn't bow in the wind and stuff like that, and it makes it much more stable. So hopefully doubling up the monofilament is going to give it a little bit of extra support. It's not as what they recommend. It's not going to give the stability of what they recommend, but we will see. Now, hopefully at some point at the very end of this row is where I want to put the entrance. So I don't have to walk through these chicken coops to get over here. I'll have a nice big entrance where I can get my little lawn tractor in here if I need to, even though I'm not really going to have room. I have 3-foot pathways. I may be able to get in here, but that's just obnoxious. I can walk it. We'll see. So let's go ahead and look at what's going on with the soil here and what the deal is. I'm going to touch on something here real quick since I'm standing right here. Okay, so right here I have got my 4-foot weed barrier. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run it all the way up across here, and I'm going to run a piece in the middle. This is still something I have to do, and it is something I have not done yet that's going to help. Jeez, yeah, I don't know what's going on, kind of. Anyway, that's something that's going to help as far as walking around and stuff like that. I'm going to put one on each end and one right down the middle. And hopefully I can get that done today too. I got a lot of stuff to do today. So I'm going to go ahead and take you handheld so I can get around this area without worrying about the tripod and kind of show you. Okay, so right here, if you can kind of see, those are my zucchinis that I planted yesterday. I have a little bit more, but you can also see my footprints there on where I was sinking in yesterday. And yeah, so yeah, I've got half rows planted basically, but the stuff that I planted at first, like right here, I can't even see, you know, what's going on. So the rain and the wind is coming here so severely that yeah, I can't even really see what's going on. So I'm going to step over. I got to look at my little blueprints to actually see what's going on. Now, I have a lot of weeds. I have a lot of growth. Now, that's my tarp down there in the very end, if you can see that. And after I pulled that back, I had a lot of these weeds, which I will show you. I tried to pull most of them up, but I wasn't completely successful. So I got these weeds that are growing. Now they were very stunted, but they were there. They were growing under the tarp, which was kind of amazing considering it's no sun. But they are coming back with a vengeance. And unfortunately, I have a lot of grass that's coming back with a vengeance as well. So I've tried to come in here and pull a lot of it. But honestly, it is an uphill battle. So I've got tons of little bits of grass growing. So I think next year is going to be a lot better. You know, I'm going to have weed fabric back here covering the grass as well. Had to mow back there to get access to it. But yeah, I think next year is going to be quite a bit better as far as the soil quality, the weed control and stuff like that. Right now I should basically have all my plants in the ground. I should have, you know, all my transplants in the ground. I should have it mulched. I should have all this stuff going on. But as you can see, I have basically nothing. Now I am going to get some tomato plants. Yes, I said I wasn't going to do plants, but I'm going to get some tomato plants in. That's going to be one of the things. Now, something else I did with the weed fabric, I did not use the staples. I did not have good luck with the staples. So I went to Harbor Freight and picked up camping stakes. A lot more heavy duty, but they do have a tendency to come out of the ground. But I'm not necessarily blaming it on the camping stakes. I'm not blaming it on anything other than having 70-mile-an-hour winds ripping through here on a normal basis. Actually, I see a spot I need to add a couple right here because it is lacking. I still have a few more packs, but I basically cleaned them out twice at Harbor Freight and loaded up on them. But right now all this grass is kind of ticking me off. It's everywhere. It's thick, and you're probably not even going to be able to see it on the video, but there's a lot of baby new little sprouts for grass coming up. I have a feeling my corn is going to be a lawn here shortly. But next year, I should be able to make it a little bit better. The year after that, I should make it a little bit better. So right here is where I'm going to put down the other layer of weed barrier. It's going to go across the previous weed barriers. It's a lot easier to just roll out one long piece instead of doing it in sections. So yeah, I'm going to run that over to the fence there, so I have a walking path in between these two areas, the front and the back. And other failure. This was my plan, is to put this wood up. Now I wanted to push this all the way to the ground to try to stop the creep of weeds and grass coming in here. Now here I planted sunflowers. My chickens have gotten in here and raised a little bit of havoc. I've covered up the holes that they scratched up and everything. I don't know if they ate the seeds or not. They probably did, but that'd be a shame because I'm not going to find out until really it's too late. But this wood, now that's as far as I can get it down. For some reason, only a couple inches. I can show you on this one, right where the dirt line is. You should be able to see that. That's as far down as I can get it. So I might have to trim all of these pieces and try to get that sunk down into the ground where it's gonna hopefully be able to stop weeds from creeping into the garden. Now a lot of people use rocks, landscape bricks, logs, I mean all kinds of different stuff, but this is a little bit of wood that I had, and I don't want to go spend even more money, especially using landscaping bricks or anything like that, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, to try to do something that might look good or anything like that. And it might work good as well. But yeah, I'm just kind of almost done spending money. Now the fencing was about $800 for that, about 500 bucks for all the T-posts. You know, I mean, just, it's a little bit of money. So I'm trying to keep everything as minimal as I can, use some of the product that I have. Now, I did buy too many T-posts, unfortunately, but I guess it's always good to have T-posts laying around. So I've got all this wood laid out right here, ready to go, but I can't do anything with it. So yeah, a little bit upset about that. I was kind of hoping to have all this wood in place. Probably buying some last weekend or this weekend to finish up that project. But unfortunately, here's all my camping stakes. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not the way things are working out. Nothing is the way things are supposed to be working out. So I want to show you something else. You may or may not like it, may or may not agree with it, but here is what I'm doing with my irrigation. Let me get around to the sunny side. This is Gilmore Ace Hardware, just a heavy duty sprinkler. It's good for 3.5 gallons per minute. I am running 6 or so, but I'm running a hose all the way over from my house, and you lose a little bit of pressure in the process of going. I think I'm at about 250 feet of hosing. There you can see going there, down there, and over and whatnot. So this works really good. I will be able to move it around depending on the wind, because wind is going to be the biggest enemy to watering this way. And we get a lot of wind here, always. It's windy right now if you haven't heard it. So, you know, if the wind is coming in from this direction, I can go ahead and move it over here, and I can place it anywhere that's going to be able to get the water to the correct areas. But it's pretty good. I can adjust, of course, the angles of it, 360, 180. Small areas, I can adjust the output right there on the top. I can adjust a few different things on it. I really like it. I want to put another one down there, run at least 2 of them, and that should do all my watering needs. Very simple and effective. So this, I got at Ace Hardware. It was about $100. I think it was like $98. And it's working so far. I am liking it. All right, hopefully I'll be able to get some stuff in the ground today, get most of everything planted, being that tomorrow is the unofficial last day of frost. And geez, kind of congested up. I haven't been like talking a lot lately, so now that I'm talking. Yeah, I want to finish up the fencing. I want to get stuff in the ground, get the seeds in, get the seedlings or small plants in the ground. I might do some shopping. Hopefully, see if I can find some broccoli and cauliflower that's going to be a little bit slow bolt, because last year mine bolted in like a couple weeks and really lost the plants. Didn't get any yield out of it at all. I only had 3. I think I'm going to... I only had 3. I think I'm going to be doing about 10 of them this year, or at least that was the plan. That'll probably be next year, but yeah, I want to get the weed barrier put in, finish that up, see if I can do a little bit with the wood if I have some time, start cutting that down, remount it, see if I can get that mounted into the ground and start getting this wrapped up a little bit. Right now, we have a couple days of dry weather. The ground is still wet, but yeah, I'm not sure how the whole water thing is going to go. And speaking of water, I've been curious about this since I started the idea of actually putting a garden in here, is the water drainage. I am on a slight slope, a slight hill. So I get water from about 20 acres up this little ramp or upslope, or so whatever you want to call it. So water comes down here. Now I was wondering, I've been watching the pathing of the water on how it goes through, and I got like a couple streams that go through my property as we get a lot of rain and flooding and stuff like that. And one cut from the chicken coops and it went over into my other field. But for some reason now it came to the garden. Go figure, right? So let me show you real quick. I'm gonna move this over. So yeah, kind of coming down. I'm not gonna be able to do it, but whatever. This fence line right here. Can't do it. But it kind of runs down the fence line and then it comes in right here. Now right where, there we go. Now right where this post is, it used to exit. But since I came in here and I started tilling all of this, it definitely started finding a place. Well, my tripod is just all messed up. It's not leveled. But it started finding a place to run all the way down the side. Now I didn't have a whole lot planned for that. I was going to put up fencing that was going to be capable of being a trellis. Now the fence that I put up is not going to be capable of a trellis, but I have extra T-post. So I'm going to do the classic, say the living tradition style. I'm going to put up some T-post. I'm going to run string. I bought the string for it. And I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do it with the tomatoes too. I have some cattle panels and whatnot, but maybe I can use them for maybe a more important use for it. String is cheap, it works. It's something I can stock up on, reuse. I actually got twine, so that might deteriorate a little bit, but it's easy to obtain. You can use a lot of different things for it, and it seems to be effective, but I haven't really done anything but like the tomato trellis things are an A-frame. And those were pretty much a joke. They didn't do anything. So this way I can have an adjustable custom type of trellis that I can go all the way up to 7 feet. I could even extend it on top of that if I wanted to. So anyway, what's going on with the flooding is it's running all the way down here. So I was wondering if I should come in, divert the water right here, or just go ahead and not fight nature, let it run its path down the fence line and just don't really plant anything there. Or I mean, right now I'm about 2.5 feet away from the water. And that's my cucumber, no, not cucumbers yet, but my squash is along this lines. I have tomatillos, got a couple other things planned, but all the way at the very end there, I don't have anything planned for it. I've been leaving that open. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that area, but if I just decide, hey, maybe we should try growing this, that's where it's gonna go, whether it needs a trellis or not. But over time, that's going to be dedicated to trellis stuff all along this fence line. So this fence line is basically all sunflowers. The 2 T-posts in the middle here, if you can see it, are going to be tomatoes. Now I just have 2 because I had 2 in here, so I put them up in the area, but it's going to be 2 on either side. The middle is going to be a weed barrier that's going to split the tomatoes, and I'm going to have 2 trellises for tomatoes right there in that middle. So anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and wrap it up about right now. Might be able to get a little bit better light on me. Yeah, how's that? Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap it up right now. That's what's going on with the garden. It's a whole lot of nothing burger right now. I got high hopes. Hopefully I'll be able to get some sort of yield out of the garden this year, but next year I'm going to go through, I'm going to re-till it. I know all you hippie folks out there that no-till, no any sort of chemicals and all that kind of stuff, and I say hippie loosely. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If I had the opportunity to do everything completely organic, completely nature friendly and all that kind of stuff, I would. I don't have the time, I don't have the money. I'm just trying to get production out of a garden at this point. Now maybe later, I don't plan on putting any heavy chemicals into the garden, but I'll be able to kind of switch it over to more of an organic, self-reliant type of garden. There's somebody I watch on YouTube that does a very good job of doing nothing in their garden and getting wonderful results. So I'm kind of leaning towards that. But we'll see. We will see. Any tips and ideas on what maybe I can do to help out? I do plan on using wood mulch. We have a lot of that around here. A lot of companies do mulching. I have to keep in mind I got to have something a little bit heavier because, like I said, we get 70, 80 mile an hour winds out here pretty consistently. The area that I'm in seems to be a wind funnel. Days that are showing 5 mile an hour winds, my beard is like sideways and I don't get it. But it's the area that I'm at, it's the slope that I'm at, it's all these things. We get a lot of wind, so I got to be careful on what kind of mulch that I use. And I'm not going to spend a lot of money. I'm not going to go to Home Depot and buy some fancy mulch bag by bag and spend $4,000 and fill up a trailer full of, you know, a pallet's worth of mulch just to do something. If I can get $40 for a truckload, you know, I got to be logical here. So anyway, wanted to share it with you. That is how my garden is going. I am loving it. I am hating it. I wish I had a lot more time to be able to put into this, but trying to make it work, you know. So cool. Anyway, any ideas, suggestions, drop down in the comment, hit that like, subscribe. I would appreciate it. Till next time, I will talk to you then. Peace. Now, the whole time I've been out here shooting this video, over about a half hour or so, this little girl has been patiently waiting for me to throw her a ball.